project development, paper writing, etc. I will also mention how to use this platform to improve your learning, teaching, and research efficiency. Finally, I've give you exploration, the main users of this Sage Research Methods database, and really start to think the value propositions to you. Okay, so first, let's look at what is the Sage Research Methods database. Sage Research Methods is a library database that contains over 6,000 items, ranging from books to videos to cases to data sets. And all of these items within the database are dedicated to developing the knowledge and skills required, to conduct effective research projects for anyone involved in the research process. This kind of a very brief overview of what the project is really designed to. No matter your experience level, we all know that managing your research project from start to finish is really complex task. And sometimes it's really daunting, I have to say. Even you've done research before, there's going to be phases and times where you struggle or you need some help. So whether you're a first-time researcher or more experienced researcher, it's really complicated and challenging process for this whole research process. We developed Sage Research Methods, which I think we released for the very first time in 2011, to really provide guidance and support to researchers as they conduct their project. The aim is, really to combine authoritative, high-quality content with interactive tools into one platform that is really easy to use. So that researchers see Sage Research Methods as the go-to place for their research project needs, in addition to working with their libraries and supervisors. And the content in Sage Research Methods basically covers all phases of the research cycle. So when you first deciding, what your research question is going to be, or like what topic you're going to investigate, all the way through to, publishing your results and maybe submitting your papers to a journal or a book or anything in between. So now, as I said, it's helpful to think about Sage Research Methods as a suite. It contains a number of components and modules. And the module approach really allows, customers to build a research methods collection based on their own requirements. So when we designed this platform, we really thought about the different needs of research organizations, such as, a National Taiwan University. Okay, so what is the challenge here? What components of content format might fulfill the needs or challenges, researchers might be facing over different stages of a research project? So we're going to look at, over next slide, the different components within the Sage Research Methods that you might find useful in your future self-exploration. Now, let's take a look at what does it contain. Over 6,000 resources. Sage Research Methods includes over 1,000 books and references. These original Sage Research Methods product contains a huge number of Sage books and reference content on the subject of research methods, of course. This includes our famous Little Green Book, aka the Quantitative Applications in Social Sciences series, as well as the Little Blue Books, handbooks, and major works. Our reference works include our world-class dictionaries, encyclopedias. We add, there is one thing I need to emphasize here is that we add titles to Sage Research Methods each year of various content type, and this normally happens for the beginning of each year. And the second is cases. Sage Research Methods cases are actually stories of how real research projects were conducted. So far, we're providing over 2,200 cases so far. And they were written by researchers themselves. They explain like why the researchers chose the methods they did, how they overcome problems in their research, what they might have done differently with the hindsight, the realities of research that are missing from journal articles and textbooks. All these cases are peer-reviewed and come with pedagogical tools, including, like learning objectives and discussion questions So they can be used as a teaching tool to demonstrate a particular method and how it's applied to real research. Or sometimes as inspirations to students who are preparing for their own research project. So far, we have the third resources I want to introduce is our database. Database is a collection of teaching data sets and instructional guides that give students a chance to learn data analysis by practicing themselves. We all know that if you want to master a research methods, for example, SPSS, you need millions of times of practice sometimes. So this bank of like topical engaging practice data sets can help you do that. After classroom teaching, you can search these data sets indexed by method and data type, and they're all optimized to use in classroom exercise or in classroom papers as well. This can save faculty member hours spent sourcing and cleaning data themselves. And the decisions researchers make when analyzing data, can seem very mysterious. So through practicing analysis using real data from this collection, students can see, how analytic decisions are made, helping them to become confident researchers. So far, we have like over 1,500 videos. These videos contains more than 125 hours of video, including we have so many diverse video types. For example, like tutorials, case study videos, expert interviews, and more. Covering the entire research methods and statistics curriculum. These videos can help to bring methods to life. Of course, they're videos, right? Instead of reading about how to conduct focus group, students can watch one in action and give them more clear demonstration of how to do focus group, for example. Videos can also be embedded into course management systems for exam preparation. Through these videos, more than 60% of them are exclusive to Sage, so students can find extra help and support to get them through every step of their research project and succeed in their research methods courses. Okay, meanwhile, we are providing 3 important tools. First is a project planner designed to guide you through your research project. It's about tips and guidance for all stages of the research process. First, think about which stage you're at in your research. If you already gotten started, you can just jump onto the stage that best describes where you are. Second is Methods Map. This is a really cool tool. It's personally my favorite. It helps you, explore the research methods terrain, read definitions of key terminology, and discover content relevant to your research methods journey. It's very interactive, and we will show it later. Last is Which Stats Test. It helps you to choose appropriate statistical method by answering a series of questions, which will be shown later as well. Okay, now let's take a look at what Sage research methods actually look like. The video I'm gonna play is a recording of a Sage Research Methods platform demonstration designed to give you an overview of how our collections and content types sit within the platform and some of the functionalities on offer. So I'm gonna play a video here. Hope you all can hear it.
Of using Sage Research Methods. Welcome to this short demonstration on the Sage Research Methods platform, which is designed to just give you a quick overview of the main functionalities, features, and ways of using Sage Research Methods, just to give you some guidance and inspiration for your own work, your own presentations and demonstrations. So this is the home page that we're seeing here, and this is where we're going to be starting for today's recording. Though I would like to say that most of our users, whether they're students or researchers, faculty members, or even librarians, they're probably going to arrive at Sage Research Methods via another website. So that could be their library catalogue, where they may have gone and browsed through the A to Z listing of the library catalogue and found Sage Research Methods. Or more likely, they will have run a keyword search in their library catalogue or some other academic search engine such as Google Scholar, and will have found an item such as a book, a video, or a case study that looked interesting to them and matched their search requirements. And then they will arrive at Sage Research Methods for the first time looking at that specific content page. I think that's just really worth emphasizing, to know that this isn't the typical way that our users would arrive at the website. But for today's purposes, it's where we're going to start. So on the home page, you can see a number of browse options. So you can browse by the different content types that we offer within the platform, and you can see that each one has a little description of what it will help you do, what each format is designed to help you do. You can also scroll down a little bit further and find the discipline browse. So if you are a researcher in public health, for example, and you know that you're looking for research methods guidance in that discipline or for that field, then you can click the discipline browse there. And there's a few more bits further down the home page, but I'm not going to spend too much time there today. What I do want to show you is that you can find those browse options wherever you are on the platform, no matter what page you're on, by using this browse menu at the top of the screen here. So this little banner with the logo, the browse, the research tools options, they stay with you no matter where you are on the platform, no matter what page you're on. So you can see here we've got the discipline browse. So again, if you want to browse by your discipline, you can choose one of these. And what that will do is run a search and return every item on the platform that we have categorized or tagged as relevant to that discipline. Next, you can browse by the content type. So again, just replicating what's available on the home page, just below this pop-out menu that you can see each of the different content types that are available to the user, whether that's foundations, content, whether it's data sets, cases, videos, project planner, or books. All of that content is there. And it's worth adding here, I think, of course, Sage Research Methods is sold on a modular basis. So a lot of these content types are actually their own sales components, and the customer chooses which components they want to acquire, whether through subscription or through purchase. Now, if the institution that the user belongs to, for example, if they don't have any videos or any cases collections, then these items will be grayed out here, and they'll be grayed out in this section as well. And content won't appear when a user runs a search. So if they run a search, as we're about to do for focus groups, there would be cases and videos, but those are not going to appear if the institution has enabled subscription sensitivity. And that's all done in the administrative area or the back end of the system that the librarians manage. And finally, we do have a topic browse, but I'm going to come and talk about this a little bit later on, because it actually correlates with one of our research tools, which you can see here just on the research tools menu. Things like the methods map, the reading list, and the project planner. We are going to have a look at these later on in the video. Okay, so we're going to run a search now. Before we come on and look at some of the tools, which are good ways of getting into the content if you're not sure what you're looking for. But I want to start by running a search so we can take a look at some specific examples of how Sage Research Methods serves its users. And we're going to use focus groups as our search term for today, just to keep it nice and simple. I am sure everyone can understand and envisage what a focus group is and how that is used as a research method. So we'll keep it nice and simple. But it's really important to talk a little bit before we run this search about how you use Sage Research Methods. Sage Research Methods is really designed, as the tagline says there, what every researcher needs, find resources to answer your research methods and statistics questions. Sage Research Methods is designed to upskill and improve the knowledge of researchers to enable them to do the best research possible. Now, let's imagine you're a researcher in business and management, and you are interested in like market research, and that's why you're doing a focus group. You aren't coming here to find out about business and management topics or about market research topics. You are here to learn how to do good focus groups for your research project. So what is a focus group? How do I organize one? How do I moderate one? How do I make sure that my focus group is as successful as possible? What other alternative methods could I choose if I don't do a focus group? If I do choose to do a focus group, how am I going to analyze the data that comes out of that focus group? And what's the best way of writing up and presenting the results of my focus group when I come to write up my research and maybe even publish it or present it in some other way, for example, as a poster presentation at a conference? These are all the questions that Sage Research Methods is designed for. So you can see it's not about the discipline exactly, although we do have lots of content that looks at research methods from a disciplinary perspective. But the point I'm trying to make is that this is all about the research methodology and the skills and knowledge required to conduct good research. No matter what methods you're choosing, you know, I've chosen focus groups just as one easy example, but we have lots and lots of coverage around the research methods space. So now that we've clarified that, you can see as I've typed in focus groups in this search bar, I'm getting a number of suggested items. So a number of cases. As I scroll down, some videos, a data set, some more data sets, books, and I could click on one of these if I wanted to jump straight to them. You know, I might want to jump straight to this video, an introduction to focus groups. Or I can just hit the search icon, the magnifying glass, or I can hit enter on my my keyboard to run that search. And what we're going to do is have a quick look at the filters on the right-hand side, because these filters obviously are really important. As you can see, we have got a lot of results for focus groups. Focus groups are a very common, well-known and frequently used data collection method, especially in the qualitative disciplines and for qualitative methods. And so we're going to want to filter those results down. You know, as you can see, we've got thousands of results. So on the right hand side, we have these filters. What we can do, for example, let's work our way up from the bottom, publication date. If we want to look for more recent content, we can drag the slider, for example. We can also filter by what's called result type. Now, this is particularly important. If you notice that we're currently showing over 13,000 results, and you might be thinking that's a lot of content. Well, that's actually because by default, the platform breaks out different chapters of the same work. So what you might find, for example, as we go through our results, is that we find multiple chapters from this book, Doing Focus Groups by Rosalind Barber. And of course, if there are 10 chapters appearing in the search results, that's going to account for 10 results. So what we can do under the result type is untick chapters, entries and segments to be showing whole works only. And that's going to remove that chapter breakdown, and it's only going to show, for example, the whole book, the whole video, the whole dictionary. And what you can see now that we've only left whole works selected is that we have just under 4,000 results available. We can also filter by discipline, and you can click show more to expand those. I'm going to leave them all selected because I'm just running quite a general search, but of course, if I wanted to, I could refine this a little bit further. And we can filter by our content type, and I am going to filter by content type. So I'm going to untick the select all box. And what you can see, if I just collapse some of these menus, these are the different formats that are available on Sage Research Methods. We're not going to look at all of them, but what I do want to do is just select in the books, the videos, and the data sets. And what I'd like to do is actually just open up a couple in a few tabs. Before I do that, I am going to just expand my results per page to 100 so that we can work our way through. And you can also sort your results in different ways. So we're currently showing by relevance, which basically brings up the results with the most mentions of our search term. You can also sort them alphabetically or by publication date. So I'm going to open up this book first, just in a new tab. Focus Group Methodology, Principles and Practice. Sounds like a great book if I'm a researcher who's interested in doing focus groups. I also just want to find a video, and there's one here. We can see this is a 30-minute video doing focus groups. So I think that would be great if I want to get, you know, a good overview of what focus groups are. And I also want to show a data set because data sets are really interesting and they have an interesting layout. So I want to show you one of those. This one is analysing focus groups on politics with young people in Wales. So I'm going to open that in a new tab as well. And then we're going to leave our search results page. You can save your search once you're logged into your profile. The icon is just here, so you could easily run this search again in the future. Just wanted to highlight that for you. So let's close this search results tab. And let's take a look at some of these items. So once you get onto an item page, you have quite similar functionality available, whether it's a book, a video, or a data set. You'll see some similarities here. On the book, you can see we've got on the right hand side some functionality buttons, which I'll talk you through as we go. We've also got a link to the methods map, which we're going to look at in just a moment. And we can see related content as well. So we can look at more cases or encyclopedias or data sets available that are on a similar theme or topic to the item we're looking at right now. And then we have the chapter view. I mean, there's some more items, but this is just a short video, so I don't want to go into all the detail. But what we can do is jump in maybe to chapter 5, conducting focus groups and practicalities. That is going to be really great for me if I've never run a focus group before. I'm probably going to be feeling quite anxious or nervous about what that looks like. What is my role? And so this chapter about the practicalities of actually conducting the focus group could be really interesting to me. Gives me some nice information on preparation, how to set up the focus group, and some nice examples of how to set up the questioning and ending and after the session. So this is just one example of what a book looks like. If we scroll up to the top of the page, you'll notice things like we can download that PDF, we can find a term within this chapter. So if we have a specific thing we're looking for, then you know we can type that in there. We then have these buttons which you find on every item on Sage Research Methods. So we have the Cite tool where you can cite this resource, you can change the reference format, and you can export that to your reference manager of choice. We can add this resource to a list, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. We can share this item by social media. We've got a number of options here, or indeed by email. So you can just enter the recipient's email addresses, and you can also choose to receive a copy as well. It's worth adding too that every item on Sage Research Methods has its unique URL. So you can actually just share that if you wanted to grab it and put it in an email or in a Word document, or embed it into your learning management system or link to it from some other website, then you can just grab the URL that way as well. So quite flexible sharing options there. And again, we can see the methods map link too, which we're going to come and take a look at in just a moment. But let's see how this content page differs with a video, because as you can imagine, we have to make room for the video player, which you can see here. Videos, we really replicate the YouTube effect, I suppose. So you can play and of course pause. You can control the volume. You've got some settings to increase and decrease the playback rate. You can switch on closed captions, which show your subtitles here, and you can go full screen. You also have this transcript that plays and scrolls through as the video plays. So if I just let that go for just a moment, it might be a little bit jittery because of the screen sharing, but hopefully you can see that transcript scrolling as the video plays through. So you've got that transcript there. You can scroll down to find a bit of information about the video, such as the abstract, publication information about the video. You've also got links to related content and the methods map just below the video. But again, you can see it's very similar to the book page. And again, at the top, all of those same items that we saw before, the cite, list and share buttons, as well as the embed to embed videos into your learning management system or a university web page just by copying and pasting the embed code there. One other feature on the videos is that you can create a clip. So this is a 30-minute video. That might be quite long if I want to, as a professor, for example, if I want to show this video in class, might be a little bit long, and I might decide that I want to create a clip of just 10 minutes, which I can do using the create clip functionality there. And let's take a look at a data set, because this again is it just got an interesting format that I want to show you. Generally speaking, it's all very similar to the book page. So you've got your cite, list and share options up here. Again, you've got your methods map and your related content suggestions. But what's interesting with data sets, which are really designed to practically develop the skills for data analysis. So once we've conducted a focus group, how do we actually analyze that data? And so what they provide is a number of things. The first thing that they provide is an actual data sample, and that's in the data set tab here. We can click download data exemplar, and that will just download a file to our browser downloads, which we can then open up. And this is the sample data set. It's a bit zoomed in. So we actually have some real data to play around with as a researcher who is developing their skills or upskilling themselves. So if we haven't got access to real data samples, then data sets is fantastic for us. So that's in the data set tab. And then the other great thing about data sets is they also provide the step-by-step instructions on how to actually analyze that data. So if I'm a researcher or a student working on my own, trying to upskill myself, I can expand this student guide and I can read through how do I actually analyze the data that I've got. So here you can see different stages of the data that I should be working through. And we also provide a teacher guide. So this is great from a pedagogical perspective. You can get that teaching guide and understand how to teach with data sets. So that's just one thing I wanted to show, because the data set page is just laid out a little bit differently. And I just wanted to make sure that the video shows how that works. So one thing I want to do now, we've skipped over the list feature, and I just want to show you how that works. If we click on the list, this is a system that allows us to save items to lists so that we can categorize resources as we find them. And you'll notice when I click the list button, it comes up with a prompt: have you created a profile? So we can click on login or register. Of course, if you haven't yet created a profile, then you would need to create the profile there. I'm just going to log in with my profile, just with my email address and my password. And when I click login, it brings me back to that data set. And now when I click the add to list icon, I can do a couple of things. I can either add it to an existing list that I have set up, or I can create a new list. So let me create a list dedicated to focus groups. And I could give it a description. I'm going to make this a private reading list, so it's just for me. And you'll see it tells me that that reading list has been created and this data set has been added to that list. And what I'm going to do is just come back and refresh these pages so I'm logged into my profile, and I'll add the video to a list as well. I'll add it to that same list that I just created. So now I can see that I'm logged into my profile because it shows it up here at the top right. I'm just going to click on the list icon again, add to my existing list, and just type in F to jump quickly to my focus groups list, and click on add, and it tells me that's been added to my reading list. Now I'll come and show you the list at the very end of this video. Before we do that, I would just like to show you the methods map. So we've seen the reference to the methods map a couple of times. We can access it down here at the video level. It was just over here on the book page and the other pages. And if I just run that search again for focus groups, you may have noticed when we were looking at our search page that there was a link to the methods map, and I'm going to show you what the methods map is. So I'm going to click on see more in the methods map just there. And what the methods map is, essentially, it's a tool that we created that really illustrates the connections and relationships between all of these different terms and concepts within research methodology. You know, research methods is a really complex world or universe, and so especially for new researchers, but even for more experienced researchers, it can be really difficult to understand, you know, all of these different terms. When we click on that link from the item page, we've come straight through to the focus group entry on the methods map, and we can see that's in the big green circle in the center of our page. And we have a nice quick description of what a focus group is, as well as the option to search all content on focus groups. But before we do that, you'll notice as well, we have these broader terms and narrower terms. So under broader terms, what we can see is that focus groups are part of qualitative data collection. And if I click on qualitative data collection, that becomes my central term. And if we don't know what qualitative data collection is, we can read the definition and see that this is the processes involved in capturing unstructured data through processes of interviewing or observation. And we can see our narrower terms where, of course, we have our focus groups, but we also have other options such as documentary research, case study research, narrative research, indigenous research, and ethnography. So I can see now that focus groups are just one type of qualitative data collection, but there are all these other types of qualitative data collection that are available to me. And if I click back on focus groups to move us back to that term, and now we have a look at the narrower terms under focus groups, we can see a couple of other things such as moderators or group dynamics. And maybe that's something that I am interested in as a researcher. Maybe I run a focus group one time, but it didn't go very well because the group setting was just really difficult for me to manage. Well, I can click on group dynamics, and then that becomes my central term. And there are no more narrow terms. So this is kind of the most specific term I can find. And of course, at that point, I could search all content on group dynamics. And this will bring up, once my results load, this will just bring up a search like we saw earlier with resources that we can start to filter through again. And that could be a really interesting book chapter. We can see this is a chapter called Using Group Dynamics Effectively in a book, Qualitative Market Research. So that immediately could be really interesting to a researcher who's interested in doing focus group research. I went back in just to that previous search that I ran for focus groups, and you'll see at the top of some of our searches, we will see this link to the focus groups entry on the methods map. So I could, before I start looking through my items, I could actually jump into the methods map, which is really great. And as you can see, the methods map is brilliant if you're not sure what to search. You know, if you don't know what kind of research you want to do, the methods map can be really fantastic. And you can actually open up the methods map and start completely afresh just via that research tools option. Click on the methods map. And what this does is it opens the methods map from the very beginning of research methods. So you can see here we have no broader terms, but we have all of these kind of top level topics, qualitative data analysis, quantitative data analysis, communicating and disseminating research, research ethics or planning research. And we can jump into these different options, maybe qualitative data analysis, because we know that we're going to be analysing a focus group. And we can come in and explore the different types of qualitative data analysis that we can do. And maybe if I click on conversation analysis, we can look at what that means and if it might be relevant for focus groups. So you can see that the methods map is brilliant if you're not sure what to search because you don't have that foundational knowledge, but you can just work your way backwards and forwards through the map. You can never get lost because you can always just come back to the start again and jump into the topic that you're interested in. You can search the methods map. So if you know you are looking for focus groups, you can search and jump straight to that section, which is really, really excellent, I think, and a really user-friendly way of navigating the methods map. And I mentioned earlier when we were looking at the browse menu, the topic browse. The reason I wanted to save it till the end is because the topic browse actually correlates to the first level options on the methods map. So if we just come back very quickly to the very start of research methods, you'll notice things like research ethics, planning research, research design, all correlate to the same topics on the methods map. And indeed, if you click one of these, for example, qualitative data analysis, it takes you straight to that section of the methods map. And that's a little bit different from the other two ways of browsing, which whether you use the discipline browse or the content type browse, that's going to run a search. The topic browse is going to bring you into that section of the methods map. So just something to be aware of there. But of course, the end result is always that eventually you would search for content on the item, usually. So this is a nice way of doing some basic learning, but eventually you will probably want to run a search for the term that you have found that's of interest. And the final thing that I want to show for this video is the project planner, which is a tool that we've created to really guide researchers through the research process from start to finish. Now, we could click on this project planner entry here, which has come up in our search results for qualitative data analysis. And maybe we can open this project planner entry, which qualitative data analysis software is right for me. And if I click on one of these project planner entries, it jumps us straight to this expanded section of the project planner, which you can see is linking us to a website which provides some guides on how to choose software for data analysis. But we can see lots of other sections in this menu, which is all dedicated to data analysis and interpretation. So how do I analyze and interpret qualitative data? What qualitative analysis techniques should I use? And then a number of different analysis techniques described. So discourse analysis, conversation analysis, grounded theory. And I can expand each of these sections to learn about these different items. And they're all kind of written in a question and answer format. So project planner we really created to be kind of entry level, and it's not going to give you everything that you need to do a good research project, but it's an excellent framework and an excellent starting point. And in a lot of the sections, we give you videos or we give you cross searches. So you can search for resources about narrative analysis, and that will run a search for that particular term, which I can come and show you in a moment once it loads. There we go, showing results for narrative analysis. So the project planner is really designed as a first step and as a guide and as a way into other content. But what you can see is the data analysis and interpretation section is just one section of many stages in the research process. And you can work through this in a linear fashion, starting from the very beginning of the philosophy of research and defining your topic, all the way through to analyzing your data, writing up your research and disseminating that research in various ways. And you can jump in and out of these different sections of the project planner as you want. And project planner is just fantastic. We get amazing feedback on it, just because it's so easy to use. And as well as finding the entries of project planner in search results, you can also just open up the project planner via the research tools section, and just click on project planner, and what that will do is load the planner from the very beginning, and you can start working your way through. Now, one great thing about project planner is the sections, we've made them kind of interactive in that you can again do everything you can with other items, such as downloading the PDF, citing, sharing, and adding to a list. So if I want to add one of these items to a list, let me just do that. I'll add it to my focus groups list, even though it isn't quite thematic. And let me come and show you that list so you can see what we've done in this half-hour video. I'm just going to click on my profile at the top right and then my reading lists. Your lists are usually sorted by default by date, so your most recently edited will appear first, which is excellent and very convenient. You can also sort them by title, which makes them, especially your older ones, it makes them a little bit easier to find. But here you can see our focus groups list, and I can just click on it to expand the items that we added, analysing focus groups on politics with young people in Wales. That was the data set we looked at. Doing focus groups was that video that we found. And then I just added that project planner entry. When will I know what my research question is? So you can see these lists are a great way of organising content for researchers, even for faculty members or for librarians. They can set up lists of content for their teaching purposes or for workshops or training sessions that they run. And you can share these lists as well. Just like you can share a normal item, you can share a list of items using the share option just there. So that was everything that I wanted to show in this video. I hope it's been a good overview of what SAGE research methods can do and how it helps researchers with their research projects.
Okay, now.
Welcome to this short demonstration.
Okay, so after the demonstration, now let's look at the product uses and value propositions. Look at how SAGE research methods can be beneficial for everyone in this training. So based on the demonstration, we can see that SAGE research methods has mass appeal on campus, really offering value to everyone involved in the research process. So the users we're going to look at today are students, the people who will describe as new to research, and researchers who have more practice and more experience. Professors, as well as being researchers themselves, are teaching research methods courses. So now let's start with students. We all know that students will typically arrive at the SAGE research methods platform feeling overwhelmed by the idea of doing their own research. They know they have this piece of original research they have to do in their 3rd or 4th year, but they really haven't had the supports they need this far. And they really don't know where to go to get help. So with thinking about the platform and how the product actually serves students' users, students appreciate the discipline browse, which gives them a view of all research sources relevant to their specialty or the disciplines they're working in. Students can also benefit greatly from the tools like the methods map, which helps them understand the connections and relationships between different terms and concepts, and the project planner, which presents a step-by-step, research framework that they can follow as they go along, and it's written in a very accessible way. Quizzes and video collections are really helpful as well, providing really practical examples of research in action beyond the classroom. Showing the real life impacts of research beyond the classroom as well. For researchers, when we're thinking of researchers who arrive at SAGE research methods platform, basically they are motivated to learn and discover new things, but they are going to have very different levels of understanding and competence. So researchers generally make more use of the search and result filter functionality to find resources targeted to their specific needs. They also, enjoy the methods map and project planner as well, because those tools are just fantastic to build everyone's knowledge. But researchers really like to use research and filter functionality because they gives them, more process control over the resources they're looking at. And they really like to use lists to organize content as their project progresses. Researchers basically have the fundamental knowledge to be able to appreciate more in-depth books and references works. Data sets are also valuable to researchers as well, as they provide the skills necessary to perform accurate data analysis. It's a very crucial step in the research process, especially on the road to publication in high-quality journals. Last, but definitely not the least, professors, they're teaching research methods. A professor will typically arrive at the SAGE research methods platform with their curricular and learning outcomes in mind. Professors are likely to browse by content types as the resources they're looking for, have to fulfill a particular need and complete other resources, that the professor is using. As far as I can see, video collections are really great for professors, as video is an established pedagogical format that students can enjoy and consuming, and can live up, the classroom by showing live examples or bringing new perspectives. Data sets also very, very useful for professors who are teaching research methods as well, because they offer practical hands-on skills development in the understudy area. Finally, cases are equally helpful in pedagogical setting, providing insight into how research really works and providing students with relative examples of research projects. So basically, this is all for today's presentation from my side. Does anybody have any questions in terms of this database or the functionality on the platform? Let's see. How do we log in and register? You can, let me open this platform for you. You can register, log in here. Sorry. There are two steps for logging this platform. First of all, it's definitely the institution login. We need to make sure that you're the students of the customer of RSRM. So you can log in here. Use your institution login, use your, when you're in the VPN area of your campus of your university, you can log in by NTU, and then do the personal login, which the demonstration video have already demonstrated. So there are two steps to log in and register. How to do if, oh, sorry.
You can use the VPN, set up the VPN.
Okay, so does anybody have any other questions in terms of this platform or how to do research, something like that, by using this platform? The question is, will all the research methods books published by Sage be included in this database? I would say no. Not all research methods books published by Sage are included in this database. But what we included in this database is a really authoritative and commonly used books I've already included in this database. And as I mentioned in this training, we're actually updating the content year by year at the very beginning of each year. So basically, if you didn't find the book here about the research methods this year, probably next year we'll include it in this as well. But in conclusion, we don't include all research methods books because Sage is really huge publisher of publishing a lot of, like, especially in social sciences, research methods, Terran. So we only carefully selected commonly used books and included in this database. Sure, no problem. If you already opened the platform, if you haven't, I highly encourage you to open the database right now if you can. And you can browse the platform a little bit by yourself so far and see if you have any inquiries or problems or concerns about this platform, and we can discuss something. Okay, so if you don't have further questions, here's my email, and highly welcome you to send me an email if you have any questions or concerns or inquiries in terms of using this platform in the following days.
So, okay, so is there anyone still have the problem? Okay, if not, it's the end of this session. Thanks for Mr. Ho giving us a very detailed and useful presentation. And after this session, this workshop material will be uploaded on the first workshop website. You can download it if necessary. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.